Hey guys, we're here with Matt who finished first place at Locals at Go for Game. What deck are you playing?
I was playing Naturia Ishizu Vernusylph.
Okay, and what's the reason for playing that right now in the format?
The deck has a pretty good matchup into tiers mainly, because you play the same like shufflers that they do, which is like their best counter, as well as the fact is like this deck likes to be milled as well, because there's a lot of cards that like aren't once returned and they gain like a lot of effects when they're in the graveyard. And overall, just like you play some cool monsters like the Nat Beast and the Barkion, so it's like, yeah, it's a fun deck too.
Awesome. Well, let's just get right to the list.
Alright, first you play the new cards from Darkwing Blast, the Mole Cricket and the Camellia. Camellia is one of the newer ones. It's your Foolish Burial on summon. It has 3 effects. Mainly, the ones that come up the most is the Foolish one and the one that summons from Graveyard. Both of these cards are really, really good. Mole Cricket's your like 1-card starter. It turns into just Beast plus itself for your opponent's turn. It can board break. It kind of starts your entire engine. So these are the like god cards of the deck, really. Like you want to open. This deck doesn't really have a 1-card starter like other than Mole Cricket, so you usually want to open Mole Cricket. But like the better hands are like Camellia and Mole Cricket, or like Camellia plus the spell. The other Naturias you play are all bricks. The Sunflower, the Vane, and the Stink Bug. They're all really good though, especially the Sunflower, because it turns into 2 monster negates on your opponent's turn. The Stink Bug is really good because this deck plays a lot of fragile monsters, so your opponent's gonna like try to go to battle phase to like clear the Sunflower first, but you can use Mole Cricket to summon Stink Bug from your deck to protect it. And then Vane is the same thing as Sunflower, but for spell traps. It's not as good in this format, but I like it still because some hands you need the 1 plus the 4 Ishizu to make the Nat Beast. Next are the other great cards in this deck, the Vernusylph cards. So the ratios I'm playing is 3 of the Duck, 2 of the Fairy, and 1 of the Bear. They're all really good. The Duck, they all have the same effect basically. So they do something and then they special an Earth monster from grave, but then they lock you into Earth effects, which the deck mainly just does. The Duck searches any Earth Fairy, which is good because they synergize with the Ishizu cards. These 2 only search specifically Vernusylphs, and this one sends one to the graveyard. These 3 are the best in this case because they're 4s, so you can make like a Abyss Dweller with them. They're great extenders. This one's really good because when you brick, but you open like any combination of these 5, this can solve your hand if you open the spell. Next, you have the Ishizu cards, which I'm playing. 1 Orange Light because it's post-ban list. 3 Keldo, 3 Medora, and 1 Kelbeck. These are the best cards, obviously, because they shuffle back. Medora is really strong in this deck because you play Gravekeeper's Trap in this deck, because Gravekeeper's Trap is just super strong in this deck because it can search specifically Earth Fairies, which, I mean, you can search your Vernusylphs. You play the 1 Kelbeck because you want to like mill it in case like, you know, you have a bad hand, but I chose not to play Agito and the other Kelbecks just because like you most of the time you don't really need to mill that much. It's better against like non-tier, but like right now we're in like a tier 0 format. And then the 1 Orange Light, it's like good when it does come up because you can like send something and then like it'll shut down like a Sprite player's turn, but honestly you could even cut this to go down to 40. I'm playing 41. Next I'm playing 2 Fenrir. Fenrir is a great card. Like most of the times, most of the decks I play, I don't really play Fenrir, but in this deck it's really strong because not only can you start with it, but on later turns when you mill it or something, the Vernusylph can summon it back because it's an Earth monster. So
Busted.
yeah, it can last. Next, the going second stuff. You play 3 Droplet, 2 Triple Tack. Droplet's really good in this deck. It can get rid of your bricks like Sacred Tree, and overall, like you need like the board breaking because like this deck does sometimes struggle going second. But the main thing is that it's good going first and second, and I want to play cards that are, you know, good first and second, which both of these are.
Right, but this deck is trying to go first.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Like it sets up some pretty mean boards. Like you can go like Dweller, Naturia Beast quite easily with any half decent hand. Next, you got the 3 Foolish Burial Goods. A lot of lists weren't playing this, but I was finding that I needed consistency in the deck because sometimes like you would open up like just Camellia, and unfortunately just Camellia isn't enough to start your plays. Foolish Burial Goods can send Sacred Tree, which is I'll go into next, but it can also send Exchange of the Spirit, which I'm playing. So some cool plays you can end up having is like if you have Medora plus an Earth Fairy and then you have this, you can just go like full Gravekeeper's Trap plus Exchange of Spirit to lock out Tear. But yeah, it's multifunctional in this deck. That's why you play. It can be a consistency upgrade, and it can just be a killer against Tear. Next, the Naturia Spells and Traps. You have the Sacred Tree and the Blessing. Both of these cards aren't once per turn because they're like old Yu-Gi-Oh! They're really broken. Sacred Tree is like, you don't generally want to have in your hand, but there's a lot of ways to like get it out of your hand, which is like something cool about the deck. But this card, whenever it's sent to the graveyard, you just not once per turn search any Naturia card, and then this card is not once per turn Monster Reborn or from the hand for Naturia cards. So basically, you sometimes end on boards where you have this set or you need this to extend, but definitely want to max out on these because like they just help again with the consistency and the sealing of the deck. Lastly, I'm playing the Gravekeeper Trap and the Exchange of the Spirit because you need to play stuff that beats Tear because, you know, Tear's like the best deck. So, but I mean, the thing is, like with these two cards, is that like they come up a lot not as just like as like a way to beat Tear, but like for example, like Exchange of the Spirit is like great to discard off Forbidden Droplet against Crime, and then Gravekeeper's Trap, it like does everything. Like you discard a card, so like you can get rid of your Sacred Tree, and then you search any Earth Fairy, so you can search your Vernusylphs. So that's why you play them. Next, the extra deck. I'm playing the one Nat Beast, the one Naturia Barkion. These cards are broken. You make this with Camellia and Mole Cricket, and this with Camellia and Sunflower. Just basically based off what deck you're playing against. The board breaking cards, the Trishula, Claren Gandrex, Changying, and arguably Barone as well. Honestly, you can cut like Barone if you don't have it, because like it comes up like every once in a while. I'm still playing it though because like it has good connection with the Bestials, which I'm playing in the side deck. But mainly this deck makes a lot of 9 Synchros quite easily. This you make with 2 Camellias and 1 Mole Cricket. And this one you just make with any Ishizu, the Camellia, and the Mole Cricket.
And what does this one do?
This one on summon, you banish up to 3 cards because you basically always use 3 materials to make it. And then when it's destroyed, it can summon a banished card back. So if you banish your opponent's like good cards, you can summon their cards back to your field when you destroy it. It gets destroyed. Next, the Xyz monsters, which are honestly mostly part of the deck. So Abyss Dweller, Daguerre's, Utopia, Baguska, Zeus, Elamaris, and Lightning. So I guess I'll talk about these two together first. This is like you're out to like big boss monsters like Avermax and at a rival. You can like arguably cut this out if you're like not playing against those kind of decks, but I just liked having like a main deck out to them, especially at locals. These 3 are kind of core. Like I would definitely say these 3 are mandatory, mainly because Dweller is just god tier against tier. This is when you get shifted, you can make this quite easily. And then Daguerre's, you mainly use this one not for the summon back effect, but the draw to discard 1 effect, because if you ever open the Sacred Tree, right? If you open the Sacred Tree, you can discard it, and then you just basically go +2 because you draw 2, and then this gets you a search. So it's kind of crazy. And then lastly, Elamaris and Zeus. The reason why I play Elamaris and a lot of people don't play it, it's also, again, a consistency thing. Like the deck really wants to be consistent because it can, when it does get its combo off, you just win. Elamaris you can just make with any 4. So the Vernusylph's lock you into Earth effects. So this is still an Earth monster. So if you say, for example, you go like the Bear, which sends Camellia to the graveyard, you can like overlay the 2 4s to make Elamaris and then summon Camellia back from your graveyard with this card. And then Zeus, just because like it's good, you can make like Dweller Zeus against Tier. I think it's good against Rogue as well. Lastly, I play 2 Link monsters, the Asa and the Unicorn. Asa definitely comes up more than Unicorn does, because Asa lets you like force out the Ishizu cards early. Overall, it's just a good card, because like also like if they summon like IP to your board, you do have a way to out the IP, and then Unicorn is good. I would swap this out for like Nightmare Cerberus, honestly, because the deck doesn't have a great out to Baguska itself. So I think Cerberus would be better than the Unicorn in this spot, but honestly, Unicorn is also just a great card. And like when it comes up with when you can just go Asa into Unicorn. Lastly, I have the side deck. This card, because you know it's an Earth monster, right? It's really good. It's really good.
Cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Your back row, hey, I play the 3 Twin, mainly because this card, again, likes to discard cards. You want to discard your Ishizu cards, you want to discard your Sacred Trees. It's really better against Flunder, because you can go, like, draw phase, activate Twin, send anything, and then pop the field spell in the trap. So I think Twin is overall better in this format. Then I play 4 of the Bestials. The reason why I don't like playing a ton of the Bestials is because when you play too many Bestials, you're giving your opponent like opportunities to A, Bestial you, and B, go for like dark plays, like they can take your Magnum if they mill it out of your graveyard. The idea is that pre-side, your opponent's gonna like side out their Bestials against your deck, because I'm playing like 1 light monster, which is the Herald of the Orange Light. But I mean, you can even take that out, like, and then like, but these come in against tier post side, so then you can't get Bestialed, and then you Bestial them. They're great because they're 6s, so you can make a lot of your 10 singers, like the Chenging and the Barone, off just Bestial plus Camellia. Next, Pank. I like Pank in this deck because, again, it's an Earth monster. Like, you want to activate effects that, like, are Earths, because your Vernusylphs are very strong effects, but they do lock you out of non-Earth effects. I play 3 Nib. Something I've been testing recently. The format is developing in a way that, like, a lot of the tier players aren't like rushing out Rukalos, or even if they are, this is like a fine card to just play to like force out the Rukalos like summon back, because then the next time you out it, they can't like they can't summon it back, which I mean, Rukalos is a really big threat to this deck because it can hit your Mole Cricket. But overall, it kills like Rogue. I think it still hits Sprite because like if they go with their Spren combo, it still hits them.
Right.
And lastly, the 3 Evenly. This is mainly for back row decks. I used to be siding it into tier, but it's no longer good because like they're siding in crime and stuff, so they're basically always guaranteed having a Omni Negate. But overall, it hits back row decks, it hits rogue decks, so I think it's worth still playing in this format against any deck that doesn't really consistently put up an Omni Negate.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for the deck profile, Matt. Any shoutouts?
Shoutouts to Gopher Game, Calvin
Let's
the
go.
owner. Shout out to Team X9, Cameron, all the guys who lend me cards and help me put the deck together, and yeah, that's all.
Awesome. Thank you. Take care, everyone.